Sorry about that, guys. Had to clip some. Um. Anyways, back on to what I was talking about. The courtroom, just the whole courtroom storyline was really well written and very entertaining. I can say probably the most intriguing and interesting plotline this show has had in any of the episodes so far. I just felt it was really well done. Everybody did a great job at the acting at that, and yeah, it was really good. They did a really good job with it. So moving on to that, we get the ultimate climax between Lex Luthor in his suit now and Superman. When Lex Luthor winds up believing and proven innocent, well, basically they tell him that they're going to count him as innocent, but they're not necessarily going to just pass him off entirely, and he's going to have some guys basically watching his building. So yeah, when he's basically counted as innocent, um, he basically taunts Superman kind of, and then drives off in whatever vehicle he was taking, and that was the moment you get the idea of that Lex is going to basically retaliate against Superman. Because, by the way, during the courtroom scene, or maybe I should get to this in a second. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. So after that, Lex Luthor basically, Superman winds up getting a message. Lex Luthor basically calls him out, and we get the showdown between Superman and Lex Luthor in the suit finally. Um, this I felt this was really time for us to finally get to to roll out the suit. I mean, we're 7 episodes in now, 6 basically, not counting this one. But it not only was it time, but they did a great job of the building momentum to this fight, of building up the climax. Because during the whole courtroom scene, we get Superman comes in and starts giving his own opinion of the whole thing, of saying that he thinks that Lex is involved in this and everything. And the interactions between him and Lex throughout the courtroom scene just did a really great job of building up the battle at the end, building up the conflict to the fight. That they did a great job with that. So as for the battle itself, we have I mean, Superman could have, if we really want to get technical, Superman could have smashed, destroyed, ripped apart that suit probably in a couple of moments. Um, but I felt that he was holding back because basically he was being true to his character. They were being true to his character with this, and he didn't want to take the chance of seriously injuring Lex, so he was kind of holding back. And speaking of that, um, when Lex basically unveils his kryptonite, that's when it starts having an effect on Suran. And in the comics, according to the comic canon, I think that the kryptonite would have harmed Superman even before Lex basically unleashed it from his suit, because just being there probably would have hurt him, as far as I've gotten from what I've gathered from the comics and everything. But it's not a big deal because the character really is OP, and it can be hard to be entirely consistent. And on that note, Superman probably could have also flew around the city and found Eric in a couple seconds with his X-ray vision, if we want to get technical, unfortunately. But that also kind of makes sense the way they did that, because Superman knew, he makes it clear in this episode, he thinks Lex is involved in Eric's disappearance and that he has Eric, actually. So, he probably figured if he found Eric, if he took down Lex, then he'd be able to get to Eric. So it kind of makes sense that he didn't just that he was preoccupied with the Lex Luthor courtroom thing. The battle itself was really epic. That was a really great showdown, really cool showdown between those two. And as I said, the conflict and the momentum was built up definitely to that battle. The score was also really good during that fight and really added to it. So yeah, that was a really, really awesome battle. And when Gordon and the police got involved, that just made it all the more epic. So yes, bravo with that fight scene. That was cool. Yeah, so I think that about covers that. Now, apart from the battle and the courtroom thing, we get a brief scene of Sinestro and Arkillo during the episode, early on, kind of actually. It's really early on in the episode. This isn't a big part of it, but they did this. They handled this quite. They did a quite good job of handling this because it doesn't distract from the main storyline and everything that's going on, but it's basically substantial enough and plays enough of a role, that it's worth being in the episode. It was good seeing basically how Sinestro reacted to Arkillo failing in, I believe, the last episode, and so yeah, it was it was good that they included that scene to me. I was glad that they included that and didn't just ignore basically entirely what happened in the last one episode. And yeah, we basically got a scene of Sinestro kind of throwing Arkillo around, because he was angry at him. But yeah, I'm curious basically if Arkillo is actually going to be in any more episodes on that note, or basically if he's going to fight Seren anymore. But yeah, then around the end, I believe it's right at the end actually, we get another scene of Sinestro and what I had actually called Darkseid and had thought was Darkseid originally, but it was actually Mongul, guys. So yeah, Mongul. I think that's the first time we've seen him, and I'm really hyped. I'm hoping this means we're gonna see Mongul get involved in this. I'm definitely believing it does because obviously this was a tease for what's to come in the next episode. So I'm really hyped for however Mongul's gonna wind up getting involved and when he actually winds up inevitably finding Seren. So yeah, not a lot to Sinestro scenes, but they felt like they played a good role in the episode to me. The last one felt like it was good for basically teasing what's to come, and the one before that basically showed just was a acknowledgement to the last episode and what happened in the last episode. So yeah, that was still handled well. The Sinestro stuff was still handled well, even if it wasn't like big or like really important. So yes, all in all, I think that really covers everything, guys. The cast performances were standout in this episode. All the cast did a standout job in this episode because everyone just had a really good role for what they had. I felt everybody who was really involved had a great role in the episode. Even Jimmy got some pretty great moments, and yeah, so all the characters. Oh, one second. Sorry. Everyone had a decent role in this episode, and everybody had a great role in this episode, and everybody got everyone who was mainly involved got a decent amount of screen time. So, yes, Superman I thought was going to be a little too stiff in this episode at first, but I felt that the actor that Clark did a really great job of not coming out as boring, but more just focused and basically intent on dealing with this situation. It felt to me like Superman was justified as being just mostly serious here. It was really justified for the character. So yeah, Superman did a really great job. Clark did a really great job in this episode, and Lex did a fantastic job. He really balanced the humor with the more dangerous, intimidating side of his character. The intimidating part mainly during the suit scene, the final battle with Seren. Gordon was pretty cool. I think this may be the most we've gotten of Gordon so far. Mainly, I mean, apart from maybe the last episode or the one before that. But he did a really good job. Jimmy did a really good job with what he got. We got a brief couple of seconds literally with Stoner, who was played by Geisel Birch, and he was pretty funny during that what he got, even though it wasn't really a lot. I think less than most episodes. And Bartman did a good job too. So we also got even a brief appearance from Perry White. So everybody who got scenes in this episode or got screen time in this episode did a great job with their performances, and I was really impressed with those this week. So yes, the last thing I want to bring up is that they did a phenomenal job of balancing Clark and Superman in this episode. The dual identity of Clark and Superman. that is something the show has really struggled with over the season. That's been the main problem from the beginning, basically, was that we don't really seem to get enough Superman, or we don't seem to get enough Clark, mainly Superman. But this episode did a great job with handling that, because we got Superman when Superman felt needed, and we got Clark when Clark felt like he was needed. So director Cliff Ellsworth did a phenomenal job with balancing Superman and Clark in this episode. A really phenomenal job. And I really hope that they can continue that streak and balance the characters' dual identity for onward, because I felt that's one of the things that really made this episode. So yeah, I think that sums it up, guys. This was a really exciting, thrilling premiere of the Man of Steel series, mid-season premiere of the Man of Steel series. And I have to say, I'm really excited for the rest of the season. This is the episode that really made me feel like this show is catching up with the rest of the shows that are on right now. So yes, I'm really looking forward to next week now, and I can't wait to see what happens. This bravo, Cliff Ellsworth and Man of Steel writers, because you did a great job with handling this episode. You guys did a really phenomenal job this time around. So yeah, fantastic mid-season premiere, guys. So if you want to go see my actual score, go ahead and head over to the Super Dinos website and go to our FFN review section, and yeah, just go to the Man of Steel Risen Threat, Man of Steel series Risen Threat review, and you'll see what our actual the score we gave it, and you can look over the positives and negatives basically. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Scaling out.